The election was obviously a high point, not just because it turned out well from my perspective, but because it's actually one of the best public engagement opportunities that we get every 4 years. I mean, not just me, but all the candidates, and certainly the 12 successful members of Edmonton City Council went out and talked to thousands, if not tens of thousands, of the Edmontonians we work for, and checked in with them about their hopes, their dreams, their concerns, their suggestions. And that really puts a spring in your step as a public servant, as someone who is passionate about democracy. And so not just me, but I picked up this wonderful energy off the members of council too, especially the new ones who I think have already added a lot to our council. So certainly the election was a high point of 2017. Well, I want to be crystal clear. The city's not falling short on our goals. We set a goal to end homelessness in 10 years. And we've housed more than 6,000 people during that time using the Housing First approach, which is one of the most successful Housing First programs in the country. And what the target that wasn't met was the construction of permanent supportive housing units by provincial and federal governments whose jurisdiction and mandate it is. So if anybody fell down, it was senior orders of government who are now finally coming to the table with a national housing strategy, with a renewed provincial commitment. I'm confident we're going to get those units built, but I'd go so far as to say that if we'd had those 1,000 units built over the last 8 years, we'd have substantially met our goal. We wanted to send a clear signal that until we, as a council, had seen the forthcoming report on Tim Haig's death, and were assured that whatever issues occurred there were taken seriously and solutions were being implemented. We didn't want to see any more fights until the report had been aired and the recommendations had begun to be implemented. And so if that happens sooner, then we can reconsider the pause that we've instituted. So I suspect we'll be talking about this at the first meeting back in January, and then we'll see where we're at that point. We've changed out personnel, so we've refreshed the people who are managing these projects. They have new practices that they're operating by. We're doing more design work on the front end to make sure that when we're asking the market for something, that it's something we think the market can deliver and mitigate as many risks as possible, so things don't, so less unexpected things arise during construction of these major projects. Can't eliminate all risk, but can we eliminate more through more front-end design work? And then we're managing all of our contracts with greater oversight, I think, than was happening before. So council's made process changes, personnel changes, and policy changes, and all of that will mean that projects that this council has started that will finish up in 2, 3, or 4 years will, on balance, more often be on time and on budget. So I think Accidental Beach was fun. I mean, in a way, it kind of put into perspective what our challenges are here in the city. When one of the big public policy questions going into your election is, what are we going to do with our beach? You know you live in a pretty good place, and it is a real question, and I think it brought out the passion in people because people want to be in our river valley. They want to be close to the river. I think it exposed and uncorked kind of a heretofore not fully acknowledged desire that Edmontonians have to get down near the water. My own view is that, having looked at it twice, having sat on the repurposing committee a few years ago, that if there was $100 million of free money, we could get quite creative, but we simply don't have that kind of money to invest in this building. So what I suspect will happen inevitably is that the time will come, and I think sooner rather than later, to demolish the building and clear the site for redevelopment. And then in terms of what gets developed on there, I think the area redevelopment planning process and the input from community and from prospective investors will help guide what gets built there. But I'd like to see something that drives lots of traffic, supports business, is good for 118th Avenue, creates, leverages the LRT station that's there. So I think there's lots of possibilities, and I'd like to see development happen there sooner rather than later.